Welcome to the Switchblade Sisters Social Club, a true crime podcast where two sisters exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome. I'm Dee.
And I'm Rhonda, and together we are the Sake Sisters. For more information, check out our website at www.switchbladesistersocialclub.com or find us on Instagram and Facebook at Switchblade Sisters Social Club.
Thanks for listening. Hi, my name's Dee, and this is Rhonda.
Hi!
And this is the Switchblade Sisters Social Club, where two sisters exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome. So, I'm back in the UK. We recorded last week from, I was in Jerusalem trying to get out. The irony is that normally I have trouble going back home and getting into Palestine, but this time I struggled to get out. But I made it, so I'm back.
Yeah, it was the worst time to go.
It was really, really, literally the most shitty time to go. I'll tell you what, though, there was something nice about being surrounded by my people during such a shitty time. I can't explain that because obviously it was really, really tense out there. It was like being in a giant funeral because it was totally different scenario in the West Bank than it was to Gaza. Obviously, Gaza was infinitely worse, but there was a lot of stuff kicking off in the West Bank. But also, as the conflict went on, the more people had friends, family, etc., that they had lost. And so it was literally being like in a giant funeral is the best I can describe it, because everyone was in mourning. Everyone was stressed.
And one of our family friends lost 40 family members in 2 hits.
Someone else we know lost 44 members. It was just awful. Me and my dad managed to cross over into Jordan literally about 20 minutes before Israel closed that border. So we would still be there if we hadn't taken that decision to evacuate ourselves, because we were waiting for both the Belgians and the Brits to decide to evacuate us. And we didn't know how long that would take. And there was something just so frustrating. Both me and my dad are doers. So sitting around and just waiting to be evacuated was really a different kind of stress for us as well. We were not cool with. And I have to say, felt so fucking guilty for how much worry I was causing everyone back home. You know, like the best thing I can describe it is like when you're ill or you're going through a hard time, and you spend a lot of energy consoling and comforting those around you that you're okay, whether you are or not. And we were like relatively safe. We were like safe for Palestine, I call it, you know, in that it's not the same as being safe in the Royal Borough of Richmond like I am now. But it was just, it was just fucking, it was intense. It was intense. So unpacking and processing that with my counselor. So yeah. In other news, I'm super excited because in a couple of days I'm going to the Halloween party at Torture Gardens, and I'm just fucking pissing myself laughing because for ages I've been constructing my costume because, you know, it has to be like OTT for Torture Gardens at
I'm
Halloween.
so nervous about you going. I don't want you to get perved on.
No, do you know what? It's better than normal clubs because you tell someone you're not interested, or you make it clear you're not interested, and they have to fuck off.
Okay.
And they do, which is not the case in a lot of normal clubs, as we know. But basically, I've been constructing my costume. Started off with this really cool dress, and then I was like, you know what? I want to go creepy ringmaster vibes. So I bought a ringmaster jacket, which is so fucking cool. I would wear it down to the pub. Like it's going to be my new spring jacket. But then I was like looking at what makeup I would do, and then suddenly I realized I'm fucking dressing up like our fucking logo.
Content day.
Subconsciously, I'm going as our little Switchblade Sister Social Club emojis. So I'm super excited about that. I'll make sure that I get a picture to share with everyone. But yeah, very excited about that. Yeah. And in other news, next week I'm getting new boobs.
That's major.
Yep.
I'm so jealous. And we're getting our faces done too soon, huh?
Yeah. As soon as I
Not a
feel left
facelift to clarify, just a little
no,
bit of
just a little. Yeah. So these
injectables.
spaniel ears. Say goodbye to the spaniel's ears, the pound coins and socks, and yeah, they're gonna be like up to my fucking chin.
I'm so jealous. You're gonna have tiny little
They are gonna be tiny.
boobs.
They're gonna be B cups. I haven't been a B cup since I was like 13.
Oh.
Which is very weird for me. But anyways, so that's my news.
You're gonna go through such a hoe phase.
Gonna. So yeah. I've been so excited because I realized we had a little bit of a mix up in terms of the order of who's presenting to whom.
Mm-hmm.
And actually last week when I did Anne Ming, Julie Hogg, it was meant to be you presenting to me.
Was it?
So yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, because it's been me 3 weeks in a row.
You're in charge of this whole operation, so I don't know why you didn't fucking tell me.
I was in a war zone. I got confuddled. So it's not the only thing that I let slide or I fucked up in the last couple of weeks. I can tell you that. It's like the least.
Oh.
So, but what that means is today you're presenting a case to me and I'm so excited about it.
You know, you should be, because today I'm not going to talk about murder.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, is it going to be crime?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I just want to say
crime. What's that? Red wine? Is that pronounced Rioja?
It's Rioja. You are about an hour late, so I'm already a bit tipsy.
I'm a late, can I clarify, because of kids not sleeping, not because I'm bad at timekeeping, because I'm fucking exceptional at timekeeping. I'm usually early.
You are. Oh, that wasn't a dig. It was just a statement.
I just need to clarify. I don't like I have the wrong impression. I got a lot of bad traits, but I'm on time usually.
Yeah.
So I wanted to this season look into. Sorry, I need to yawn. Oh, very sorry. Cut that out. I wanted to look into crimes that weren't murder, because crime doesn't always have to be murder. It doesn't have to be murder to be shocking, and we all do like a shock story.
Sweet Bobby. Sweet Bobby. Yeah,
Sweet Bobby. Fuck, exactly. No one got physically hurt in that, but that was one of the fucking most frightening, creepy things ever.
Yeah.
So this one. So do you remember how we did Delroy Grant?
Mm-hmm.
That led me onto Harold Shipman, right? The elderly connection. Mm-hmm. My topic today is linked to that. It's a medical crime. I'm doubly fascinated by this for several reasons, so I'm just gonna fucking start. Okay, want me to start?
Yes. Tell me the fucking story.
I'm gonna tell you the fucking story. Okay, I'm really excited about this one because it is different to what we normally do. So, and I'm curious to know if people like it. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about Dr. Donald Cline, even though I don't like to use the term doctor to describe him, and the IVF scandal. A look into a grievous medical deception. Do you know about this?
No.
You didn't know?
No.
You don't know? Oh, fuck.
I do have my own little story.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Yes, you do.
Tell me when you want me to share that one.
I'll tell you when.
Okay, so, you give me the nod.
Okay. So I was interested in this because the last episode I covered Harold Shipman and his crimes in the medical world. And the reason I think that interested me so much is that, like, we innately have a real trust for doctors, right?
Yeah.
And fuck.
That's why it's even more scary when it's someone that,
exactly. You think, like, well, we know not police. We can't trust all police anymore. We know that now. But doctors, you kind of still think you can. But I'm going to tell you the fucking story. Okay, so the story of Dr. Donald Cline's deception is a story of catastrophic betrayal in the field of medicine. Now, also, secondly, the other reason this interested me, actually, I'm going to tell you why it interested me later. Okay, so operating in Indianapolis, Cline became infamous for his unethical actions, which highlighted the vulnerabilities in the fertility industry and the profound significance of trust in the medical profession.
I think I know this one.
Yeah, you definitely would have come across it. Definitely. Okay. Also, there is currently a Netflix documentary on this called Our Father. Oh, I don't even
Yeah,
like the
that's
name.
how I know it.
I don't like the name even of that documentary. So, okay, a little glimpse into his background. So Cline began practicing in the 70s, and he became known for being the go-to fertility doctor in Indianapolis. Really well respected, really well known. So many couples that were struggling with infertility, his clinic was a beacon of hope. And they sought his expertise with the expectation of receiving professional and ethical care, as you do when you go to see a fucking doctor. And between 1979 and 1986, this is the punchline. Cline artificially inseminated his female patients with his own sperm instead of that of their donors or their husbands. Well, donors could be their husbands, without their permission or knowledge. And so this is the thing. I was interested in it because of following on from the Harold Shipman case, but also because I had IVF, and that's how I have twins. And I remember asking the doctors, like, how do you keep track of people's samples? Like, can you just reassure me what's going on here? And they were like, oh, don't worry, we laser tag things. So apparently if they put your sample, your eggs, my eggs, near somebody else's like sample, like alarms would go off. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I just accepted the answer. I don't fucking know what laser tagging is. Do you know what laser tagging is?
No, and also, wait.
I don't know why that happened. That happened, but I have a funny story.
So Rhonda just got a little speech bubble with the little thumbs up come up next to her.
I don't fucking know why that happened, but I do have a funny story. Last week I had a call with a client because I do monthly catch-up calls with them. And do you remember months ago we installed Snap camera? Because we wanted to look better. Because Zoom looks like fuck. It makes you look like shit. I swear I don't look this bad in real life as I do on Zoom. Anyway, and then oh no, I think I was fucking with the settings of on Zoom. You can like put lipstick on. Anyway, I was speaking to like literally 5 minutes before I was supposed to have the call with the client. These fucking lips kept like doing this all over the screen, like kissy lips, you know, like emoji lips. And I was like, fuck, because he's like an accessible bathroom company owner. And I've only been working with them a couple of months. And I thought, how the fuck do I explain this? I was thinking, I either go ahead, you don't even have to make a split fucking second decision because we were about to start the call. I had to either like just be like, look, I'm so sorry, I don't know what this is.
This
with fucking like floating lips throughout the whole hour-long call, distracting everyone, and me trying to pretend to be professional while that's happening on the screen. Or just be like, sorry, my camera doesn't work. And then it's also awkward, you know, talking to people on Zoom with no camera is weird. Anyway, thank fuck, restarted the computer, it was fine. But you know when you're like, fuck, you know, one of those fuck moments.
That reminds me of that.
Yeah, just think real quick what you're going to do.
Remember, was it a lawyer or something who was doing like a Zoom hearing?
Oh, and his kids.
I'm a cat. He was a cat. Why am I a
that,
cat?
yeah. Oh, I thought you meant the guy who was on the news and his kid came in on.
Oh, no, that was hilarious as well.
But yeah.
And everyone thought his wife was the nanny because she was like Asian or something, yeah.
Because people are a lot of people inherently racist.
Yes.
So
everybody's a little bit racist. What's the song from Avenue Q? Everyone's a little bit racist.
Oh, the musical?
Yeah. They got a song called Everyone's a Little Bit Racist.
Didn't know that.
I've never seen it, but I know the song. Anyways, go on.
So yeah. Okay, so basically, yeah, that's why.
Yeah, also you have to trust that they're actually fucking doing their job and laser tagging and not switching off the laser. I don't know.
Yeah, when they said like we laser tagged, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So reassured. I do not know what the fuck laser tagging is. They could have told me anything. Like they used a dilithium.
Like
yeah, or like dilithium crystals to make sure. I don't fucking know. Do you know what I mean? They could have said fucking anything. Flux capacitor. I would have been like, yeah.
Of course.
Capacitor.
Little story. Rhonda's husband is a boiler heating engineer, and he regularly tells people that it's their flux capacitor that's on the blink or whatever. And if you don't know why that's funny, where the fuck have you been? And go watch Back to the Future.
Yeah. I mean, they could have told me anything, and I'd be like, okay, cool, cool, cool. I'm reassured, you know. So that it made me think, like, I mean, my twins, they look like us, they act like us, so we know they're ours.
They're
But
definitely Safies.
yeah, but it did make me think. I didn't fucking question anything. I wasn't supervising what they did with my eggs. You know?
And I'm guessing,
anyway.
like, back in the 70s, 80s, at the beginning of IVF, they didn't have fucking laser tags. And
Yeah, to be honest, this wasn't even IVF. This was artificial insemination. So what they call IUI, intrauterine insemination. Yeah. So that's why I had like a double interest in this. So, okay, so he is believed to have fathered more than 94 kids. Can you fucking imagine? And when I tell you the reasons why, it gets even more wild. The story, you know, when those stories like get wilder and wilder? Because I thought, okay, this is a God complex thing. It's more complicated than that.
Like my legacy.
Yeah, you know? It's more than that.
Oh.
Several theories. Okay, so Cline was a fertility doctor, and he was discovered to have been using his own sperm to impregnate potentially dozens of unknowing patients over the years. And like I said, this story featured in the Netflix documentary, and it made me feel sick and angry. And I'll tell you why. Angry for several reasons, because he basically fucking got away with it. Okay, so the unraveling of his deception is rooted in the DNA and genealogy testing boom, like, you know, 23andMe and Ancestry and stuff.
Oh, is that how it came out?
So as more people look into their genetic histories, some offspring of his former patients began to encounter startling discoveries. They had an unusually large number of genetic half-siblings. And while sperm donors often father multiple kids, the numbers related to Cline's practice were insane. So the initial skepticism transformed into horror as it became evident that all these people shared one biological father, Dr. fucking Cline himself. Oh. Now, in the documentary, there's a lady called Jacoba Ballard, and she's a significant figure in uncovering his crimes in 2014. So she's a hero. She's a fucking hero.
Great name. Say it again.
Jacoba Ballard. Didn't know how to pronounce it until I watched that documentary. Anyway, so she's the hero of this story. So she was a woman conceived through artificial insemination who began to trace her genealogy through DNA tests in like 23andMe. And she said when she found out that Cline was her father, she said finding out that I had siblings was amazing, but there's 8 of us. What's going on here? So that's, you know, she found this out on. So
first they find out that they've got the half siblings.
Yeah.
But I presume this guy has not done 23andMe because he knows what he's done.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell us at some point, hopefully, how they found out who their biological father was. Okay, good.
So the film follows Jacoba, who literally uncovered the whole story. And when a DNA test told her that she had 7 relatives in nearby areas of Indiana, she knew something was up. And she grew up suspecting that she, being the only blonde, blue-eyed member of a family of brunettes, was adopted. And when she was 10, her parents told her that they had used a sperm donor to conceive her. And her mother, whose name is Debbie Smith, said, I wanted a child so bad. And the Smiths went to Cline, who had a reputation as the best in in the field of fertility treatment and artificial insemination. He was allegedly a good doctor and a devout Christian, which, you know, when they
alarm bells, red flag.
It's like when you hear a pillar of the community, church elder and respected member of the community. He told them that medical students were used as donors, each medical student no more than 3 times, to limit any future problems with consanguinity. I'm
like, I can say it. No, I can't. Consanguinity. Inbreeding. Inbreeding.
I'm going to try to say it.
Okay.
Is that what it means? Yes, it does mean that's what it means. Fucking hell, we went to university a lot of times. Why can't we read this? Consanguinity. That's what it is. Consanguinity.
I'll edit all of that out. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically inbreeding because, you know, if there's like a bunch of people that are half related, that don't know they're related, running around in the same town.
So it's a medical term for unwitting siblings later having children together. Can you fucking imagine? So the couple went ahead, and 9 months later, Jacoba was born. When Jacoba found out about her siblings, she realized they all lived within a 25-mile radius of each other. So Lisa Shepherd Stidham, sibling number 22, notes that when another name appeared on a database as close family, they all pray that it's no one they know or have dated. Can you imagine, like, small town America, 25-mile radius? The chances are high.
Well, please tell me that there weren't any cases of.
Not that I came across.
Okay.
Not that I came across, but people did find out that they were related to people that they had been close to, and
that they'd known. Yeah.
So her children go to school with the children of another sibling, and her husband unknowingly coached them all at softball. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cute, but
it is
minus the fucking.
Yeah. So Cline had already even acted as gynecologist to one of his doctors. Can you imagine? Sorry. Let me say that again. Cline had even acted as a gynecologist to one of his daughters. Can you imagine? She didn't know that was her dad. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things about
maybe he lost track, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but presumably he would have her medical history.
So Jacoba's findings prompted more investigations, and it was revealed that Cline had deceived many women into thinking they were receiving sperm from anonymous donors who were medical students when he was using his own sperm. So this discovery led to widespread media attention and eventual legal actions against Cline. And Jacoba played a critical role by launching the investigation into his actions. And so when she initially confronted Cline, he denied any wrongdoing. And on the documentary, you can actually hear conversations they've had, like phone recordings, like phone calls that she'd recorded. And he cited standard procedures and pointed to the anonymity and unpredictability of sperm donations. However, as more people came forward and genetic evidence mounted, Cline's denial became difficult to maintain. So in the end, the pressure became too significant and Cline confessed, but this was after some time. And on the Netflix show, they had a telephone conversation of him confessing to Jacoba. And what made me so angry about listening to it is he did not sound remorseful. And all he's saying in those recordings is, it's going to ruin my family. My wife's going to leave me. He admitted to using his sperm to inseminate patients, estimating he did it at least 50 times. But given the lack of rigorous record keeping back then, I mean, nothing was computerized, the actual number might be higher because old records had been destroyed. So it gets creepier. It really does. You think it can't get worse than what we've already heard, but it gets fucking worse. So as Cline's story gathered increasing news attention, the doctor grew fearful of losing his marriage and tainting his relationship with the church. And this prompted him to threaten and harass his biological children over the phone. Yeah, he's a fucking bad guy.
What a dick. Was he still practicing medicine at the time?
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. At that point, potentially not. Yeah. So they also suspected Cline of committing a series of strange attacks, even though they never caught him in the act. So in one instance, the nuts from all 4 tires of Jacoba's car were removed and missing. In another, it gets worse, another sibling's computer was hacked and her files and emails on Cline were erased.
I'm sorry, wait. The wheel thing is worse because I'm assuming that's some sort of like attempted murder.
Do you think? Oh, I didn't even think that.
Right? He's trying to make the wheels come off.
If you take the nuts off tires, is that what it does? I guess it does. Fuck. Oh, Jesus. I didn't even
I mean,
think
the email thing is bad, but I feel like that's a fucking attempt
I was
on
thinking,
our life.
I was just thinking hubcaps because you can drive without hubcaps, can't you? Yeah. But nuts, fuck, yeah. So I don't know how this fucking guy managed to hack into somebody's computer and delete files and emails because she had prepared another one of the siblings loads of evidence. She'd even looked into his old papers he had written and stuff like that. Then Heather Wook, another sibling, started receiving harassing phone calls from the cemetery asking her if she wanted to purchase a plot for her to be buried in. And she said, I think it was to rattle me, to re-traumatize me so that I would be quiet. I don't think he wanted any of us to talk publicly if he could help it. So this alleged pillar of the community was a fucking psycho. Yeah. So beyond the immediate shock, the revelation had profound psychological effects on the victims, obviously. Finding out your biological father was not an anonymous donor, but instead the very doctor trusted with assisting in conception was traumatic for them. And for some of his biological children, feelings of identity erosion surfaced. So the origin stories, a foundation of our identities, had been turned upside down. A lot
And
of them
for the mothers as well, because that's like they've basically been raped.
Yeah, I'm going to get onto that. So a lot of them grappled with existential questions, wondering about their place in the world and the nature of their existence. The mothers who had undergone the insemination procedures had been violated. They placed trust in Cline, and his betrayal of that trust, you know, was experienced as profound trauma. And it was discovered that Cline also, this is another thing, there's so many layers, had autoimmune disease, which would have disqualified him from being able to donate sperm. And now many of his biological children also have that autoimmune condition. So for Alison Kramer, who's one of his daughters, who also has health issues, it took a long time to accept that her and her twin sisters were his biological kids. And she said, Don Cline was also my fertility doctor. He was my gynecologist. He did my pap exams, my breast exams. Pap exams are smear tests. Yeah.
I just thought, has he fucking helped a kid conceive, potentially inseminating it? I'm guessing that would have been.
I didn't come across that.
Oh, but I mean, it could have fucking happened. He probably didn't keep track of the names.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he did. I don't know. But ugh.
Yeah. So as the story of his deception began to dominate headlines, the public also became invested. The story was not just about a single doctor's crimes, but it shone a light on potential vulnerabilities within reproductive medicine. And, you know, questions arose like, were there adequate checks? And, you know, in the fertility industry, what mechanisms were in place to ensure that sperm donors remained anonymous? And the legal response to his action was complicated. And this makes me so fucking angry because he basically got away with it. So, you know how part of the issue is that, you know how in the States, in America, each state has like different laws? That's fucking crazy, right?
It is crazy. It is crazy because you have like the state law, the federal law, and then you have the federal law, which is like the universal law of the whole country, the national law, and then the state laws. And sometimes, as far as I could tell, they fucking contradict each other.
So this is what I think is fucking crazy, and I think he was fucking lucky that he was in the right state to get the fuck away with this, because basically,
well, I'm sure he fucking knew that. I'm sure he researched.
Yeah, so what I found really interesting was that when they were, and I'll get into this, but when they were trying to work out what to try him for or with, it could have potentially come under several different things, but none were, it didn't apply to those, you know, enough. So, okay. So Indiana law, like many states, had not been updated to account for the specificities of fertility fraud. Fraud was one of the potentials that they were thinking to try him on. So was it fraud, rape, or battery?
And also, sometimes the laws take ages to catch up with these new developments, like fertility treatment. So they probably, like you say, they didn't have laws specifically about this kind of...
And I thought that was interesting because at first, when I was looking into it, I thought, well, of course, rape. Why wouldn't it be rape? You know, like some sort of rape. Some
sexual assault. Or
sexual assault. That's what I thought. And then when they mentioned fraud, I thought, actually, yeah, it's also fraudulent. Then when they mentioned battery, I thought, yeah, I can see that too. And then, you know, I was also reading that...
Or some kind of medical negligence or
and also some sort of, I can't remember the word they used, but the fact that he was in a sexually aroused state at work. He basically fucking had a wank at work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whatever crime that is, you know, what is that?
I don't know.
Inappropriate shit.
In some sort of indecency or something. Yeah.
So Cline's plea in 2017 to 2 counts of obstruction of justice linked his false statements during the investigation, resulting in a suspended 1-year sentence. And that's all he fucking got because he lied.
Suspended, so he didn't even...
Yeah, he literally got away with it. That's all he got in trouble for.
Sorry, basically going back a bit, because first I want to talk about how fucking disgusting
I'm going to go more into it.
Yeah, but also that gave me, like last week, do you remember
the Double Jeopardy? Yeah.
But how they initially couldn't get him on murder because he'd been acquitted for murder, so they tried to get him on perjury. So just another situation where you're kind of looking at what laws you can use to get these fucking criminals to serve time and do what they need to do to get
there are
justice.
more bombshells. There's more bombshells, but
great.
Obstruction charges stemmed from a complaint made by the Indiana Attorney General's office in which Cline denied ever using his own sperm to inseminate patients. So all he got in trouble for was lying about that. Just lying to the Attorney General's office. And he got a 1-year suspended sentence just for that, nothing else, just for lying. Because then he admitted that he did, and he didn't get in trouble for that. So his denial was in contrast to the genetic evidence presented by multiple people who had uncovered their connection to him, the biological connection, through DNA testing. And the verdict left many victims feeling that justice was not served, obviously. Initially, Cline denied the allegations, even stating in a written response to a complaint to the Indiana Attorney General's office that he never used his own sperm. However, in 2017, this is 3 years after Jacoba uncovered it, Cline was formally charged with 2 counts of obstruction of justice for lying to authorities. Although he escaped more severe charges because of the fertility fraud or assault, because of the statute of limitations, the scandal led to an outcry for more robust legislation regarding fertility treatments. So in December,
wait, so this came out in like 2000, what was it? What did you say?
Jacoba uncovered it in 2014, and it went to court in 2017.
So even though this happened in like 70s, 80s, you would hope by the 2000s, when IVF and all this fertility assistant treatments and so forth, that they would have updated the laws by now.
But no. Yeah. So in December 2017, he was given a 1-year suspended sentence. And facing the evidence against him, he eventually pleaded guilty to the obstruction charges. He admitted in court that he had indeed used his own sperm, knowingly providing false information to the authorities. Despite the gravity of his actions, he was given a fucking light sentence due to the limitations of the existing legislation. And he did not even serve any prison time. The sentence was met with public outrage, obviously, and by many of the people all of the people affected, who felt it didn't adequately address what he had done and the impact that it had on so many fucking lives. So he's got at least 90 biological children. Can you imagine all their families?
Yeah, their partners, their offspring,
in the fucking thousands, you know.
All the people whose gynecologist he was.
Yeah.
Knowing, even if he hadn't done anything specifically to them, knowing that that person has fucking treated them, seen them in their most vulnerable states, and you know what I mean? That would fuck with your head too.
Yeah.
So it must be in the thousands and thousands.
Yeah. So despite the light legal consequences, the scandal did expose a gap in the regulation and oversight of fertility clinics and sperm banks, and it did start a push for legal reform. And the media attention spurred the fertility industry to reflect on practices, with many clinics tightening procedures and solidifying transparency measures. Which, like, why was it not in place by this point, 2017 already? Anyway, this is where it gets weirder. You ready?
Great. No, but go ahead.
I mean, I think what we heard is like fucking bad enough. It's like a crime that most people would never expect.
Oh, it's awful. Because it's can I just say that anything to do as well with women and families doing fertility treatment and stuff, it's just like another layer of just horribleness, because the vulnerability of you in that state and your family, like, you know, obviously seeing you go through it and stuff, it makes it even more awful, because it's just such an emotional time for everyone involved. It's awful. It's fucking disgusting. So yeah, fuck me up more. Go on.
Okay, so Jacoba's research reveals that one of the people in the DA's office, district attorney's office, who might have been expected to follow up on her complaint, is associated with the Christian fundamentalist movement Quiverful. Have you heard of them? I never had before.
No, but now I get it. Right.
Okay.
So yeah, Quiverful. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Why? What do you get?
That is religious groups.
Okay. So it encourages the faithful to have as many children as possible and groom them for power so they can become ambassadors for God. The Quiverful movement is a conservative strain of the evangelical Christianity branch. And it is said that Cline produced what Jacoba describes as, this is what she says, this perfect Aryan clan. It's disgusting.
Oh.
What the fuck are these balloons?
Now! Is it because you did this? Do this again. See if it brings up balloons again.
What the fuck is
A
that?
very weird thing to talk
You are welcome, Patreons.
What a strange thing to pop up when you're talking about
I
neo-Nazis, but tell us
Yeah.
about these fucking pricks. So
So
basically they want to make a super race.
yeah.
Where have we heard this before? Go ahead.
So some of Cline's children who appear throughout Our Father suspect he may have been a member of the Quiverful movement, which they describe as cult-like. So Jacoba and her siblings believe his potential association with the movement may explain why he committed, well, why he did what he did. So Quiverful itself is a theological position held by some Christian followers who believe large families are a direct blessing from God. And the followers believe in the importance of procreation and are anti-birth control, including natural family planning, a method which is approved by the Catholic Church in order to achieve and avoid pregnancy.
The natural family planning, by the way, means like monitoring your temperature to know when you're fertile and so forth, and doing things like extending breastfeeding because you're less fertile while you're breastfeeding so that you don't have another kid too close after blah, blah, blah. All of those things in theory by most churches are acceptable. I mean, just fucking wear a condom, but anyways. So they're saying that even that is wrong.
Mm-hmm. So Quiverful believers are also against sterilization and abortion. And the Quiverful movement also cites the words of God in Genesis, be fruitful and multiply.
I mean, a lot of religions and cultures are pro large families.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But if you're saying it's because we need to make this amazing Aryan super race.
Yeah. So in Our Father, Jacoba and her half-siblings explain how they first suspected Cline may be connected to the movement after she received an email from someone with a Quiverful domain name, because she was starting to get a lot of harassment by email. And the biological mothers also spoke of numerous visible biblical verses across his office walls, including Jeremiah 1:5. Do you say 1:5? 1:5, I don't know, which also appeared on the Quiverful website, which said, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. Fucking creepy.
I bet you it's one of these Quiverful people that helped him hack into that girl's computer.
Yeah, because that's what surprised me, because Donald Cline was old.
Yeah, I had Harold Shipman vibes where he changed the records not realizing that you can easily see when the records are fucking changed. But yeah, if he had like accomplices, allegedly.
I know, yeah, because at first I was like, how did this old guy know how to hack a fucking computer? I mean, I am being ageist. I take that back. I shouldn't say that an old guy can't do that, but it's kind of surprising, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not something a lot of people can do. Anyway, so Jacoba
I
and her
can't.
no. So Jacoba and her half-siblings who confronted Cline recalled him quoting that same verse, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. And their suspicions were also raised when, after doing some research on Quiverful, they learned that some members were determined to have numerous white children due to fears they would disappear. So Jacoba and her half-siblings all noted how they all looked eerily, creepily similar. White, blue eyes, blonde hair.
So I bet he picked the mothers.
Potentially, yeah. I did wonder why how he chose his
like he must
victims.
have looked at certain women and been like, yes, we would make beautiful little Aryan babies.
So the Quiverful movement very much still exists today and is most popular in the US, no surprise, but also has followers in the UK, Canada, and Australia. So Nancy Campbell, one of Quiverful's most popular leaders, states on her website that her Above Ruby's quarterly magazine circulates 160,000 copies each year. It's a fucking lot of people with these crazy views. So
I'm scared about this.
This story gets weirder.
Great. Go.
I know, the more I looked into it, I was like, what the fuck? You know, when you're like, there's constant what the fuck moments, you know? So now another major addition. Yeah, another major addition. This was really sad. So Cline's faith developed apparently after he accidentally hit and killed a young girl with his car. Her name was Angela Golden, and Angela was a cheerful 4-year-old girl. I know, really fucking sad. So one Saturday in 1963, Angela was crossing the street outside her house in Indianapolis and was struck by an oncoming car, which was driven by Cline. She died in the hospital 2 days later on August 19, 1963. And yeah, very sad. That makes me really sad. 4-year-old girl.
Yeah. So
And
what he was, sorry, go on. But what I was going to ask was he was found, but he wasn't found like guilty of anything.
No. So he didn't get in trouble for that. But it was said that this is what led Cline to become uber religious. And
I mean, that would fuck you up. I've always said this, like, even if it's one of my biggest fears, because even,
oh God, don't say it.
But like, even if you're not responsible, you know what I mean? Like, even if someone just ran out in the street stupidly, drunk, whatever, it's entirely not your fault. And yet it causes their death. It would fuck you up. So
completely.
And if it was a kid,
So that did happen. The quiverful movement is a theory, but it's one that makes sense considering he had those verses on the wall in his office, and his biological children were getting harassing emails from the quiverful movement. But the court case against Cline, it illuminated the gaps in the legal regulation of fertility treatments and protection of parents' rights. And what he did fell into a gray area legally because there was no existing legislation specifically addressing the authorized use of a doctor's sperm in fertility treatments.
It's not just that, it's also the sort of deception of it.
I just don't know how they didn't manage. I mean, the lawyer was saying he didn't feel comfortable to take on the case because he said it's not battery. I can't argue for that. I can't argue for rape. I can't argue for fraud. It's like, to me, it's all those fucking things.
Yeah, but I get it if it's like it's still in a gray area. But, I just feel like if it's because it affects women, and I'm not saying there weren't male victims, because obviously the kids and also the partners of these women. And
what's so sad?
But if because it affects women, people are slower off the mark to make sure they're fucking protected with these new developments in science and technology.
Do you know what's so sad though? Jacoba's dad said when he found out, he said, they've robbed me of like everything I have. And then one
still his kid. That's still
but one of the mothers also said she felt like she had been raped 15 times.
Yeah.
Without knowing.
I can't even imagine trying to process that fucking information.
Yeah. So in response to the case, there was a concerted effort to push for legal reform in Indiana and other states to ensure that similar abuses could not be, happen again. And
slip through the net. Yeah.
And in 2019, Indiana passed a fertility fraud law, making it a felony for a healthcare provider to use their sperm or eggs without the patient's consent for assisted reproduction, with penalties including prison time and potential damages for the victims.
Sorry, without their consent, but I can't imagine how a conversation, imagine you go in for fertility treatment. Sorry, this is just fucking blowing my mind a bit. And you're sitting there with the doctor, and the doctor says, oh, I can't do this without your consent, but do you want like an anonymous sperm donor, or do you want my sperm? Can you imagine?
Yeah, makes
that awkward conversation where you're like, can I get someone else's because I don't like the look of your eyes, or I don't know, it's just like that in itself is just so gross. Like, I can't imagine a world where you would want their fucking sperm anyway with consent.
So although he was the most prolific US doctor to wrongfully inseminate patients, he isn't alone. And with the growing popularity of at-home DNA test kits, an additional 44 fertility doctors in the US, only the US, had been exposed for committing similar crimes. Yeah. So he's not.
So not just fuck ups of like, oops, we labeled the sperm vial wrong, but like they're actually using their own. So,
I mean, there were so many things that.
Wait, I still have my initial question.
Yeah, what's the initial question?
So all these people are doing 23andMe and all these DNA tests. It's popping up that they have a million half siblings.
Yeah.
How did they? So how did they work out that their father, who probably wasn't on the system, like if Dr. Cline,
Because Jacoba had contacted them, spoken to them. She
so they
even
all
had to,
worked out that they were a
yeah,
result
yeah,
of
yeah.
fertility
Jacoba
treatment.
was literally the investigator,
So
and
she
even
found out.
yeah, and
We've
she
all
even
been.
said,
Sorry, go on.
huh? Well,
Go
what?
on. I was saying, so she found out that they were. So she contacted them all, found out that they were all as a result of fertility treatment assistance, and then worked out that they all their parents shared the same doctor.
Yeah, yeah, because and she even said like she knew that when she was going to make that phone call to them, she was about to ruin their lives.
But then also, okay, so she then suspects, okay, we've all got the same, we're all as a result of fertility assistance of some capacity. And all our parents shared the same doctor, Dr. Cline. Even then, you still don't know whether it's the doctor's DNA or whether he just had his one source of DNA that he just used on everyone, right? So how did they find out?
Because a sperm donor could only be a sperm donor, anonymous one, was only allowed to donate 3 times.
But I mean, like, he could have just had like, oh, I've got my favorite student.
But they were only allowed to do it 3 times. So they knew that something illegal had happened for...
Yeah. But yeah, but at what point did they suspect that it was actually him himself?
Oh, that's a good question.
Just right off the bat?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyways, go on. So...
But, you know, I just can't get over, how somebody would do that. It's more complicated, I think, than just a God complex.
No.
But B,
it's like...
I'm just fascinated by the legal side. Normally, the legal side isn't what fascinates me as much as the psychological, the psychology behind the crimes. But what fascinated me is that this fucking guy has fucked up so many people's lives.
So.
But yeah, so basically, what I found just fucking unreal is, like in the States, how people go to prison for lying about their address to send their kids to a better school, and somebody like him gets away with it. What he did, you know,
and recently, even though his crimes were committed like decades ago, this happened recently.
And also the other thing is, you know, when you watch the documentary, he has no fucking remorse. You can hear several recordings of him with his phone calls. No remorse. All he goes on about is, my wife's gonna leave me. This is gonna ruin my life.
Did she? Do we know if she did?
No,
I fucking hope she did.
She stuck by him. She stuck by him. So
how the fuck do you do that? Imagine finding that out about your husband and staying with them.
I don't know if they're very religious, you know.
That's it.
I don't know.
Well, I didn't expect to find neo-Nazi, super religious fucking elements in this story as well.
Yeah, but, you know, the other thing is also, in the documentary, they're saying that, like, wherever they go in this town, they see people they're related to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like 90 people, those 90 people that are his biological kids, and then all their kids. That's a lot of fucking people who are related in a 25-mile radius. That's small, you know?
They've got to be careful.
Yeah.
Do you know what this reminds me of? It's so awful, but I don't know if these stats are still relevant, like if they still apply. But when I worked for Hounslow Council, like 20 years ago, it covered the area of Feltham, and Feltham had the 2nd highest level of inbreeding in the country at the time. And people were like, oh, it must be the Asians. It fucking wasn't. It was the white people. And it was because, this is so awful, because of, and there's no judgment here, but a lot of family breakdowns and people having kids with multiple people and so forth. That's a lot of times, siblings, cousins, etc., were getting together. They didn't know they were fucking related, basically, until they had a kid that had an issue that was as a result of consanguinity. Said it. But yeah, so I can't even imagine, like, these people are gonna have to fucking keep track of their family tree intensely to make sure that doesn't happen to them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I hope our listeners found this story as interesting as the murder ones, because this kind of story fucking fascinates me. I think it's when you have so much trust in somebody and then they're capable of this level of deception on such a fucking wide scale. Also, I'm going to cite my sources because Dee says we always cite our sources, but I forget. But here are my sources. So the Netflix documentary, Our Father, amazing. You know, not an easy watch. I wouldn't say it's enjoyable.
So I remember watching the first 5-10 minutes and stopping because of my story, which I'm going to tell you in a bit, and also your story.
Yeah. So, oh God, if I'd have watched that before I had IVF, that would have freaked me out. So The Guardian, and the New York Post, Newsweek, and Time.com, but also, as I said, the Netflix documentary. So yeah, tell us your fucking story, which is horrendous. Oh my God.
It's horrendous in that it's making me really sympathize with the people involved because of the very small scale thing that happened to me in comparison. So at one point I was having fertility treatment, fertility testing to see what the situation was with my ovaries and whatnot. I've had cervical issues in the past, so just wanted to check it out. And basically, if anyone's had a internal feminine ultrasound, you know that they basically shove this massive fucking dildo in you. And what they do with this dildo is they put like a giant condom on it to keep it sort of more hygienic, whatever. Ugh. It's awful. It's intrusive. It's whatever. It is what it is. It's what you have to go through as a woman quite often. Anyway, so I had this test. The doctor, the test itself was awful. Like I've had loads of cervical issues. I've had loads of tests like this before. I knew something wasn't right off the bat. And again, I'm going to call on my favorite murder when they say, fuck politeness. If you know something's not right, say something, because from start to finish, I felt uncomfortable. I was with my then partner, and literally this whole internal exam, including me being introduced to the doctor and stripping and getting changed again, took less time than him going for a wee, which is not right in that you need to be fucking explained the procedure, made to feel comfortable, etc., etc. But he actually was like barged in at one point because I was screaming in pain. And he said it sounded like a Victorian asylum, you know, like crazy screams. And I have a high pain threshold. So basically, this internal exam happened so fucking quick. I was not relaxed. The bedside manner was fucking awful. And it was horrendous. And then fucking came home in agony on the fucking sofa for hours, like couldn't do anything. Next day, I go to the toilet and a bit of this fucking condom comes out, like the covering of this ultrasound thing. So basically, she'd left fucking things in my vagina, you know, which is not cool. So I called them up instantly. It was like, look, this is fucking falling out of me when I've come for a wee, and I'm worried that there's more stuff in there. I'm worried I've got damage because I'm like, I feel bruised on the inside. They treated me like I was a fucking pain in the ass. They wanted me to come back in, and I was like, okay, fine, but please don't make me go see the same doctor because I don't want her in my vagina again. It was the same doctor. It took me a while to clock. I was in a kind of altered state of mind in that I was stressed, depressed, fucking all over the shop. And it's going to sound silly, but she had her hair done different. She had it in a bun rather than down. So I didn't immediately clock that it was the same doctor until I was in there. And basically she checked me again. She was like, there's nothing in there. She made out like what was, and I brought what had fallen out of me. And she was like, oh no, that's not from us. She told my partner that I must have been having sex with someone else because that must have been a bit of a condom that from me having sex with someone else. It's like I was in his presence the whole 24 hours between the exam and this moment.
God, it's fucking outrageous.
So I'm on the bed crying in pain and tears with my legs up in the stirrup, and I can hear her over there having a conversation with my partner saying that I must be cheating on him. Do you know what I mean? It was just like everything was fucking awful about this. Luckily, my GP, this was all private as well. Not that it should matter, but I didn't get even a refund for this. Luckily, my GP, love my GP, Cross Deep Surgery in Twickenham. I fucking love all of you. they got me in for an appointment, like an emergency appointment, to check me out, and they did proper tests and everything. And they said, like, looked bruised on the inside, and it was just, you know, they could see obviously I was fucking traumatized. And I don't use that word lightly, but it was fucking upsetting. Yeah, and then basically nothing came of it. I got a solicitor on board, and do you know what they said? Unless you can prove long-term impact, you don't have a case against them. But also, you only have 2 years for this case to go to trial. So you've got to prove long-term impact within a 2-year period. And it's like,
I know, it's crazy, actually, isn't it?
how do you
Medical
prove
negligence. Because
is it not enough that they left something physical inside my body?
Yeah, I know.
That should be enough. Even if I'm resilient enough for it to not fuck me up long term, shouldn't that be enough? And the main reason I wanted it to go further is not because I wanted compensation or any of that. It's because, like, this was in a fertility clinic. So these are women at, like, some of their most vulnerable stages. Like, even going for these different tests, I was seeing women, like, crying in the waiting room and everything.
Oh,
and,
I
like,
was crying in the waiting room there at that same
and I
clinic,
remember that exactly. And I remember that whole situation, just watching you going through it, and just knowing, like, different friends who've gone through it, like the amount of heartache and emotions and all sorts of stuff, and how, you know, that you go through when you're having IVF treatment, with you're being pumped full of hormones, as well as going through one of the biggest things in your life, and blah blah blah. And I just thought, that woman, that doctor who treated me, she was so rude to me off the bat. So even as soon as I walked in, I was like, I felt tense and uncomfortable, which is not how you should feel when you're about to have someone go into your vagina. Yeah, I just thought, like, I can't imagine that
so
woman treating people like that.
So awful.
So
I have to say, like, I had
that's
great doctors.
That's nothing in comparison to what these people have gone through. But that's why I just, like, I know how shit that made me feel. So I can't imagine. I can't imagine what these people have gone through. Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing that is super adorable about this story and heartening is how it seems like some of these siblings have developed relationships and work together on this. So that's nice, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely worth watching, and Jacoba really is a fucking hero. She really is, you know.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, because considering it only went to trial in 2017, that was 3 years of investigations and her pursuing it, you know. So,
and that's only 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you know what I would love? I would love to hear if anyone who's escaped this quiverful cult. I'm going to call it a cult.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
That would be awesome to hear from someone who's escaped it. Because it sounds fucking cuckoo bananas.
I'll look into it more. I mean, it doesn't sound that dissimilar to a lot of the fucking crazy cults in the States, though, huh?
Yeah. The Westboro neo-Nazi fucking racist, elitist, fucked up. Ugh.
On a positive note.
Tell me a positive note. Is it what I think it is?
Yes, it is, yes.
Is it the People's Pulse?
Yes.
Wait. Let's have a break.
Note,
Let's have a break. And we'll be back for the People's Pulse. So, welcome back from the break. Sorry about that, but we got to make some cashola in some way. But now we've got the People's Pulse. I'm not going to be bothered putting in the fucking theme tune twice, because that's a lot of effort in post-production. So if you want to hear the theme tune again, rewind a bit. But Rhonda, tell us, what is the question this week?
Okay, so today is celebrities you can't stand.
Oh!
And do you know what's so interesting? Like, depending on the question that we have, and me and you always talk about what question we're going to have for the People's Pulse before we put it out. And we put it out on our Instagram feed, and we put it out on Instagram stories. So if anyone wants to ever submit and have a shout out, then check out our stories and our feed. And it can be on different days because we record
randomly.
Yeah, where possible around our work and lives. So what's so interesting is that I actually, some questions I post, and there's not much response. Some questions you post and there's an influx, you know? So it's interesting. Okay, now I really like people's answers. I like this one.
Wait, we couldn't do ours.
Okay, I'm gonna do mine at the end.
All right, well, I will also do mine at the end because I need to have a think, because I like to stay out of it entirely because I like to hear the answers as a surprise. But as a result, I forget what the questions are and I don't think about them myself. Okay. But I do have to say our mothers, because hers is fucking hilarious.
Whose is hers?
My mom.
She never bitches about anyone,
Yeah, this is why it's weird.
She
fucking hates with a passion.
Who?
Doris Day.
What? I've never even heard her say that name, nor that she hates anyone.
I can't remember how it came up.
Yeah, how did that come up?
Oh, no, I do remember how it came up. Okay, so I basically confessed to her one time that I do not enjoy most of the music of Elvis.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't.
Don't at me, but most of the songs I find kind of irritating.
Yeah.
And then she was like, yeah, it's like Doris Day. I was like, what? And she's like, can't stand her. What?
Talk about Doris Day.
Do you know what I think it is? It was the kind of venom of someone. I bet you either our dad, I forgot to ask our dad what he thinks of Doris Day, or a former boyfriend, because my mom did have a couple of boyfriends before my dad, that someone fancied her. And that's why, like, it kind of felt like that.
Doris Day, interesting.
Doris Day was in Calamity Jane and a bunch of other stuff, but like my mom has a dispassion, whatever the opposite word is.
Interesting. I'm gonna ask her.
It's just made me laugh. Yeah, ask her, because it's hilarious. She goes off on one.
What?
And like,
she just to clarify, she never fucking bitches about anyone, even says anything bad about people. So this is funny.
Bitches about a lot of things and situations. She is the prophecy of doom, but not people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I was like, I found it fucking hilarious, because I was like, where did that come from? So yeah, Doris Day. Go on.
I'm gonna think about how I can bring that up to her tomorrow.
Just ask her.
Yeah, what do you think about Doris Day? So,
oh my god, record it and make it real.
I will. Yeah. So, okay, so the reason I want to go at the end is because, like, when I thought about this question, I thought, who the fuck can I not stand? Because my policy is, if I can't stand somebody, just turn off the fucking TV, change the channel, you know? Like, I don't give myself opportunities to not stand people. I cut it out. You know, that's my policy of operation. But
Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh, he features. Okay, he features. But basically, like, I knew that it was going to be comedians, but obviously the Tory party.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I'm taking them
out.
I
feel like we're talking about celebrities.
Yeah.
And almost like a kind of
Boris Johnson.
Irrational hatred.
Yeah, like Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, I could do physical harm to them and enjoy it. You know, I could fantasize about it and enjoy it, you know?
Careful, but we're going to get done for hate speech and inciting violence.
Edit it then.
Yeah. I'll leave it in for our Patreons.
I said what I said. But they're not celebrities. So we're talking like TV people, music people. So I knew it was going to be comedians, because I don't know what it is, but I get really angry about bad humor, like things that people think are funny that aren't, you know, or people that keep making jokes and keep trying to make you laugh, and then they get offended that you don't laugh. It takes quite a bit to make me laugh. You make me laugh. My friends make me laugh. Lynn fucking makes me laugh, you know. And I add that in there because Lynn said to me once, you always talk about all the other funny people that you know in the podcast. I was like, what are you talking about? I talk about you being funny.
Yeah. Anyway, Lynn's in almost every episode now.
Lynn is the love of my life. But where was I going with this? What was I saying? Oh yeah, bad comedy. Can I just say your ex-husband, whose name rhymes with
Madam?
Yeah. His kind of fucking comedy. He was like I can't even call it comedy, like a carry-on film. And like he would keep trying to make you laugh because his jokes weren't landing. So then he'd do it more and that kind of thing. So just, oh God. And then out of politeness, you're laughing. And then towards the end, I was just like, fuck it, you're not funny. I'm not gonna bother laughing. But anyway, bad comedy irritates me, and I think that's why I can't watch things like The Inbetweeners or stuff like that. It just irritates me. But anyway, so
I want to go on record to say I think The Inbetweeners is fucking hilarious.
We had like almost a whole episode about that in season 1. But I knew mine were going to be comedians, but I'm going to say it at the end because actually some of the people that our listeners mentioned were exactly who pissed me off. Okay, so I'm going to start at the beginning. So first of all, we got Northern Karen. Now, Northern Karen says she's from the Midlands. For us, it's the north, because it's north of Neasden IKEA, north of the M25.
What
So
for
hi,
Gap,
Karen.
yeah.
So she said, an interesting one, John Barrowman. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting one. She said, when I worked at the Children's Hospital, he was in Panto at the theater. I got in touch to ask if he would visit our patients, and he said he was too busy with other commitments, which is fucking cunty, because Children's Hospital. I then heard that he was doing Q&As after the show and charging people for it. His accent gets right on my nerves too. So yeah, don't like him anymore because he's a cunt. He didn't come visit the kids in the hospital.
Yeah.
Then Cliff Richard, not such a weird one. A lot of people find him creepy and weird. She said, no idea why. I find
maybe it's because they child porn, allegedly.
Yeah, he gives off those vibes, huh? Allegedly. It's super creepy. His voice, his outfits, his hair. Whenever I see a Cliff calendar, I just want to rip it up. I agree with that one. Now we have our other Karen. Karen
Which
in the
one?
States.
Karen in the States.
So hi, Karen.
No, because we got three regular Karens.
We do. And Karen in the States, her son just got engaged. So that's
congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh,
big news. Yeah. Karen is so cute. She's so sweet. And she said an interesting one, Matthew McConaughey. Not sure why, just always gave me the slimy creeps, which is interesting because our dear friend Lucy B, he's one of her like major crushes.
Yeah. I get that because he plays, I think it's because he's a phenomenal actor. I think he's genuinely a phenomenal actor.
Did he play something creepy?
Yeah, is it the Dallas Buying Club, whatever it was called? Lots of different roles where he's one of those actors that like physically embodies.
Okay.
So he's lost a fuck ton of weight, gained a fuck ton of weight, like changed his physical appearance beyond belief. And he's played a lot of creepy, gross characters.
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah.
So then we got Lindsay, and Lindsay said someone who was like literally the first person that popped in my mind is who Lindsay said. And she said, I'll begin with the incomparably annoying Michael McIntyre.
Yes!
Right? I fucking can't stand him. And I remember we saw him, I think I was 17, and it was at the George pub. Yeah. And from then, before he was even famous, it was at the comedy club at the back of the George IV pub. And I remember thinking, this guy's fucking annoying. His voice, his hair, his jokes, he laughs at his own jokes. They're not fucking funny. Like, you know, when you see comedians, you think, everyone I know is funnier than you. Okay, it's not their fault. It's not a crime to not be funny, but I don't know. It's something about him.
No,
you know, the other thing is he's so... It's like posh schoolboy humor. I think that's why it annoys me. So Michael McIntyre, he's one of my top 3 for sure. Then we have Joanne, one of the other sisters. Remember Joanne who came to the event? Yeah. She's so cool.
Oh, wait. Can I just use this as a moment to say that we are doing another event? Linda and I, Linda from the Brewery Market. Hi, Linda. We love you. Got another event at the end of November. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but it's going to be all about cults. And it's called Bunch of Cults. So Murder on Tap, Bunch of Cults. So it'll be pairing amazing craft beers with different cults. There's no reason why you would pair beers with cults, except that we want to
maybe
give you
Kool-Aid, huh?
Yeah. But we just want to give you beer.
Shouldn't laugh. That's fucking inappropriate laughter. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we make a lot of inappropriate jokes, but yeah. We want to be able to have an event where you can have beer and hear stories about cults at the same time. So that's what we're doing. Brewery Market in Church Street in Twickenham. So have a look at our website. There's a link to the event, and
it'll be in Lincoln Stories too. Lincoln Stories, Lincoln Bio. And if you want to know the Kool-Aid reference, we have a cult episode.
Yeah. We have a cult episode, which will actually we're re-releasing that after season 2, so it's not available at the moment, but
it will.
If you want to hear more about it, you can come to the event. Although I'm not actually covering that cult, I will be referring to it.
So Joanne,
yeah.
so do you want to know what Joanne said? She said, my
Yeah.
sister hates Richard the Hamster Hammond. Interesting, because out of all the men on Top Gear, he's not the one that's most annoying, but
No.
yeah. Then Joanne said, my pet hate is Joe Wiley. Now, I heard the name, but who is Joe Wiley? Let me Google her real quick.
She's like, she was a presenter slash DJ.
That's what I thought, right? DJ, huh?
Yeah.
I think. Okay, let me see.
Weird.
Yeah, okay, cool. I do know. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So she said, I find Joe Wiley totally patronizing and also incredibly talentless, yet she is somehow held in esteem despite having less musical talent than me. Then to top it all, she was really bitchy a couple of years ago about Bananarama. Bananarama? How do you say it?
I don't think it matters. No one's going to sue us for that.
And then she said, I know my thoughts are senseless, but I feel extreme dislike for her nonetheless. Senseless is funny. Like all of our topics here, what bothers us and what we hate and what we love.
The more senseless, the funnier, to be honest.
So then we have almost our third co-host.
It's either going to be, who you're going to say, Susie or Isla.
Oh, Susie's coming. Susie's coming. I love Susie. So Isla said, okay, I'm going to start with the first one. She said, and this is another fucking one of mine. So Lindsay said Michael McIntyre, one of mine. The other one that came to mind, Isla mentions, and he is insufferable. That's the word. It's fucking insufferable. He deserves a punch in the face. I'm not like
wait, can I guess?
Yes.
Pierce Morgan?
Oh God, shit. Yeah, he should be on it too.
He should be on someone's, but he's on our list. Anyways, go on.
He should be, No,
anyways, I feel like I think it's funnier when it's kind of an irrational dislike for a celebrity.
This is not irrational.
Some of these are fucking rational.
Yeah, this one is rational.
It's totally logical to hate Pierce Morgan.
So he's a cunt. He just is a fucking cunt. So Isla said Russell Brand, always have done. It's because of his leering voice and his sneering. Now, do you know what? And I'm gonna say, honest to God, long before the rape allegations, and that was an interesting documentary on Channel 4. I thought this guy, I've seen him on TV for like the last 10, 20 years since
20
he was
years,
on Big Brothers, like the after show thing.
Yeah.
And I always thought this guy is a cunt. He is obnoxious. He's not funny. He's narcissistic. I fucking can't stand men like that anyway. Showy, peacocky kind of men. But also his perviness and sleaziness with such like pride disgusted me back then. Back then, we're not even talking that long ago. It felt like 5 minutes ago. That kind of shit was like more acceptable. Now, thank fuck for the Me Too movement, and people are actually taking notice of things they should have taken notice of a long time ago. But I always thought the guy was a fucking prick. A fucking prick. Okay. So then, one of our favorite detectives, Stephen Keogh.
I love Stephen Keogh getting involved.
I love him. Love him so much.
Stephen, I don't even know if he listens to this, but
you know what? I don't think he does. But you know who does?
But can I just tell you something?
Yes.
I have just written an article for Crime and Investigation because, you know, we work closely with them. Crime and Investigation Play is the only true crime streaming channel in the UK. It's fucking amazing. And if you use the code SSS Club, I think, pretty sure, then you get 50% off. So you get a whole year's worth of fucking amazing true crime shows for under 15 quid, for $14.99. But anyways, I also write for their website, is the point I'm making. And I've just writing an article on top true crime books of 2023 and whose book made the cut. Number one on the list, Stephen Keogh, your fucking book.
What a guy.
Murder Investigation Team, the Jack the Ripper story, I want to say. Sorry, it's a long title and I'm dyslexic, but it's number one on my list.
And he's so nice.
Fucking awesome.
So nice. And last week I had a message from our good friend Mary, who was listening to our episode with him and said his voice is just so soothing. And it is, isn't it? It's like the kind of voice you want to read you a bedtime story, you know? Yeah. So I told him, I said, you've got like a therapist voice. But yeah, what I was saying is I don't think he listens, but you know who does? His daughter does. Oh, yeah, his daughter does. So hi, Stephen Keogh's daughter. We love you.
Stephen Keogh's daughter. Can you tell him that I've added him to the list of top books, please? Thank you.
And top true crime toddy.
And top 2 crime toddy. Yeah.
So
yeah. So what's he got?
So what he said was, he said, "Oh man, that's putting me on the spot." And he said, "Does this include politicians? If so, Theresa May. She destroyed policing in this country as Home Secretary and has never recovered." Then he said, "Is that cheating?" with a smiling face. No, we will let it. We said we weren't going to have politicians, but for Stephen Keogh, we will.
Yeah. And also agree 100 million %.
100%. Yeah. So then we have Claire, who says, and this is another one of mine. She said it. I was like, yes, him too. Okay. She said, that guy that does Celebrity Juice, Keith Lemon, or whatever his name is, gives me the creeps. Yes, Keith Lemon is another one. You just want to go, shut the fuck up. I can't fucking listen to him. And he looks like a Chucky doll. Right? Yes. Okay. So then we have our favorite Sam. And which I said that to him the other day, and then I had to clarify later on because I was self-cunting about it. I didn't want him to think like we have lots of Sams and he's our favorite. I said, you are our only Sam. Oh no, wait, I said you're our only Sam. And then after I had to clarify that our favorite Sam. Anyway, whatever, if that makes sense. He said 4 words: Jeremy Clarkson, car twat. Yeah, and he said he's indefensible.
You know what I'm gonna do?
I said he's indefensible. Sorry. He said it's good we agree on assholes, and he said that's what he said.
I'm texting him right now and saying I said Jeremy Clarkson too.
And then he said more. He said I can't work out if he's such an asshole with his outdated views for the media coverage it gets him, or his actual opinion. Either way, knob. And then he said, and he cut me up once in his flash sports car. Yeah, I think he's a cunt. Then, you know who we have?
Susie.
Yes, we do. Last, but absolutely not least. Now, Susie, I just spoke to her before we recorded. And I said to Susie, I could live with you. I said to her, Susie, I am you and you are me. Because I think Susie has all the weird fucking quirks that I do.
Is she single? Because I think I want to marry her.
I love her. And then I said to her, do you remember like a few weeks ago we were saying, how come like we always fall over and embarrassing shit happens to us and it doesn't happen to other people? You know those people who just walk around not falling over and having perfect hair?
Yeah.
You know, and I said to Susie,
can I just say, sorry, I'm interrupting, but Sam has just replied, it was a toss-up between him and Piers Morgan.
Yes,
Sam. We agree.
Sam, our favorite Sam. So then Susie, so I said to Susie, do you fall over a lot too? And she said, yes, she's one of us.
One of us.
Anyway, so do you know what? Susie's gonna come to CrimeCon with us next year.
No way.
Yeah.
Where does Susie live? Like exact postcode.
North of IKEA.
Susie, I cannot wait to hang out with you at CrimeCon.
I'm really excited about Susie because
also,
I think Susie,
if you use our code SSSC on the CrimeCon website, you get 10% off.
Forgot. I'll tell her. I think Susie's going to be a fucking riot. I think Susie's going to be... Oh my God,
Susie, I cannot wait to do shots with you at the bar. Yes, Susie.
Do you know what? Susie is the first person. Every time I put out People's Pulse, I tag Susie or I message Susie and I say, give me a response because I know it's going to be good.
I see that you tagged Susie and you're like, Isla, give it to me.
And what would the People's Pulse be without Susie?
Literally nothing. Susie, I don't know if you get this from what we're saying, but we're fangirling hard over you. You are our girl crush.
Yeah, Susie needs to have her own fucking TV show.
Yeah.
Because I would watch that.
We need to adapt this cushion and we need to have a little Isla here, a little Susie here.
Do you want to know what she said?
Yes.
Bagpuss and Margaret Thatcher. She said, when I was a kid in the 80s, if either of them came on TV, I would run screaming from the room. If the door was closed and I couldn't get out, I'd put my fingers in my ears, stand in the corner, banging my head against the wall and shouting, make it stop. Even now, if either of them are on TV, I have to turn over and walk out. And then I said, like, how come? And because I always want the backstory.
I mean, we get Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah. And they said, no idea. I think Maggie Thatcher, because I grew up with a house full of Labour Party members. And she was also quite strict.
Margaret Thatcher Cunt.
Fucking witch.
Mhm.
And she was also quite strict and severe looking. Backpuss, I think it's the whole pink cat that talks just not normal. And then she said, as a PS, I also think Elon Musk and Katie Hopkins are germs. And fucking yes, Katie Hopkins is vile scum.
Do you know what?
Hate. She
I'm
should
gonna
be
cut you off.
canceled.
I'm cutting you off right there because that's as much airtime as I want to give her.
Yeah.
Elon
Do you know
Musk
what?
also.
Do you know what? I think that's even what Susie said. Hold on. I think Susie said the same fucking thing. Hold on. Let me check. Let me check. Let me check. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
How tired I look.
Hold
Fucking
on.
hell.
Hold on. Hold on.
And look
Hold
at this. It's definitely Botox o'clock. Look at this shit.
Oh, Dan, I know. It's so overdue for us.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Susie said. I try not to give her any time in my head. My life is too short to deal with her. See, us and Susie, we're like this.
Oh my God.
We are doing the fingers crossed thing that
Susie, are you half
means-
Belgian, half Palestinian too? Because we might all be related. Which is really gross after the episode we just covered.
But Susie, I love you. So
Susie, please tell us if you're coming to CrimeCon.
She's coming.
She's definitely coming.
I told you she's coming.
Susie,
she said she's coming. If Susie says she's coming, she's coming.
I want to go on record that I want to buy Susie a drink at the bar.
100%. So that concludes.
That was a great People's Pulse. I fucking enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Right. So see you next week, guys. It's been a fucking.
You know what can go on our Patreon? Your new boobs. That can be our extra for Patreon.
I mean, to be honest, I'll probably be showing the fucking world. If I'm happy with the results, everyone's seeing them. So
get ready for Dee's hoe phase.
My hoe era, if we're gonna do a Taylor Swift. All right. Well, I have hated and then loved this episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna go have a snack and watch Below Deck.
I'm gonna have a bagel.
I'm gonna oh yeah, I had a bagel today, and then recalibrate. And after this episode,
and then we'll do it all again tomorrow. Love you. Bye. Love you, listeners.
Toodles.
Bye.
Hey there. Thanks for being a loyal listener.
Do you need a new website or want to boost your social media performance? Or do you hate podcast editing? You've tried optimizing your website and social media channels, but you're still not getting the listeners, downloads, and engagement you want?
We, the Safier sisters, love helping people with tasks that they hate. We know a thing or two about podcasts, websites, and social media, and we love working with other podcasters and business owners.
So why not head over to switchbladesisterssocialclub.com and go to our Work With Us section. We believe in collaboration over competition. A rising tide raises all ships.
Bye!